welcome back. It's Rosa Hart, and we're into town in Cinderella. Today is the first time that I've left the house on the day off. Usually I choose to stay inside. Rather, the other servants always leave to go home. I never see any reason to leave since this has always been my home. And the Martian has never been home. Besides, it is not as if I want to return. Not after the concession we all shared last time. Thus, I had spent most of the days asking questions about Mother, inquiring when and rather where I can. The opportunity do not rise me. I was scared of her. One wrong move and she had you thrown out in person. The townsfolk would always wait for her to pass by before leaving their houses. She was a terror. The kingdom is better placed now that she's gone. There's no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more old life makes me sense to me. I now know why the king never seems to love Mother and why the people hated her, and the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it has been months since I've been glanced at in public. If there is one good thing that this curse did for me, it is that it allowed me to travel around town without being noticed. As Victoria's shop comes into view, my thoughts shift to the reason I have left the place in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I will have to ask Victoria. She must be related in some way to his curse. Good thought. I pause outside the door to the toy shop. With a deep breath, I push the door open. Ding! Welcome! The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you are the princess maid, Rose, wasn't it? I nod at her. You never come in here alone before. What can I help you with? I wanted to ask you something. It's about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Did something happen to him? Is he okay? He is fine. She sighs with relief. Then what is it you like to ask? I just wanted to know if you know anything about Prince Rod's sudden methods. And stare at me for a few moments before she shakes her head. I only know that it happened soon after I met my fiancé, Demarius. What reason do you have for asking? Well, I tried to think of a possible explanation for this, and I immediately turned to Emily. Victoria is Emily's best friend. Surely she would be willing to help if she knew I was doing this for Emily. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Prince Emily has been worried sick about him, but he refused to say anything, even to her. I had been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning this cause. I stare at her friend, hoping that the gun hold nothing but determination. Finally, Victoria smiles. She's lucky to have a definitely friend like you. I'm still not acquired to the fact that Emily considers me as a friend. Before she became a princess, I was the first confidence we were like sisters. But now that she lives in the castle, we are no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her comforts. Even around me, always tends to keep her problems to herself at first. She doesn't like to bother other people with them. It is hard not to agree. with the way Em was, always smiled before. I never thought she had any problems in her life. It was only recently that I discovered that she was hiding all her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It's a relief that she befriends someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but tell me if it will help Ems. To start with, I'm not exactly sure how everyone changed, but it all happened so sudden. All I know is that after the night I met Demore, our relationship changed. At first he smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you the night you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there. No, but soon after what happened the night, Rod grew distant. What happened? It was a stormy night and I was heading home. I took the route by river because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippery and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong and I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of the water, only that when I woke up, my head was in Durham's lap. Oh dear. I have an idea. What if this guy is the guy that cursed Rod? What if Rod's reason for getting cursed was to make sure Victoria was safe? What if something bad happened before? Or risked her life and he couldn't help her? I could see that, actually. That would explain a lot. That was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home and he came by every day I was recovering. And then he came to visit even after I've recovered. I tried not to get my hopes up too much, because what could this noble see in me, a mere commoner? But I still ended up falling in love with him. You have no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl's dream was marry a prince. It was all of the fairy tales that I read as a child. None of that was all related to Rod. How does this relate to his curse? You said your relationship with Prince Rod changed after that night. What happened? Victoria sighed. I told Em and Rod about the curse soon after the incident. Em was happy that two of us had fallen in love, but Rod didn't say much of anything. That when I noticed he started growing distant, when I realized that he had also lost his voice. He still, I did it a log. When I noticed he started growing distant, when I realized that he lost his voice. He wouldn't tell me anything, but I figured that he was. Her voice faded, but I knew she referred to the curse. So Rod lost his voice shortly after we met the Lorman. The mermaid curse must have had something to do with the tale. The little mermaid tends to her voice for legs so that she could be with her prince. But the only person who found their prince charming was Victoria. Rod's curse must have something to do with the destiny of Victoria. He became with her after finding out about Demoria. Why? Then there is the fact that he still spoke to Victoria, even he was distant. It was only when he found out their wedding that he became so cold. I frowned. I tried to organize my thoughts. How did it get to be this late? I'm sorry, Rose, but I have to close shop for now. Sorry for the story. I know it has nothing to do with Rod, but it was after the incident that he became to act strange. I think it has to do everything with Rod. I disagree, Victoria. I don't think it much helped, but I shake my head. You told me what you could. Victoria walks to the door, opening it so both of us could step out on the street together. I really hope that you able to help him and Rod. I hope so too. Did you see Ardaria the other day? I caught the sight of two nobles sitting on the bench not too far away from the toy shop. They are referring to Orin without her title. How despicable. Who would have thought a peasant like her could almost look like royalty? But her dress. As the queen, she ought be wearing silk rather than salt. I do not know why, but I burned at the comment. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but the fact that they are speaking so bloated in public means that they have little worry about being overheard. I'm still not sure what the king saw in her. Well, you know, what they say about ladies lacking natural beauty. Her talents must lie in others, more pleasure areas. Ill? They must be very pleasing indeed, if the king saw it worthwhile to marry her. At the two women laugh, I feel something hot beginning to burn in my stomach. Victoria takes a sharp breath beside me. Since I became a maid in the palace, Orin has been nothing but kind to me and mere servants. She has all the right to flawless her state and title, yet she remains humble. I know now that this is why everyone at the palace loves her. Common women like her can only keep a man active for so long. I start walking towards them without thinking. Rose, I wouldn't. You have no right to say those things about the queen. The two women are clearly surprised at my attitude. Both of them glance at me. And you have no right to eavesdrop on us. Eavesdropping? Anyone could have heard you. Their mouths flew open. One of the women looked at me for a long time, their sneers, as if something had occurred to them. I thought you looked familiar. You're the crown prince's personal maid. I see you always follow her around when she's in town. This is none of your business, girl. Why do you care so much for our opinions? And perhaps it's because the girl ideals the queen, thinks she might go from rags to riches. What? Oh, you do have a point. They stand and advise towards me. Do you want the prince for yourself, girl? If a common can become the queen, it's not too difficult to imagine yourself as a princess, is it? How foolish. You're better off dreaming smaller dreams, girl. They laugh until my chest burns into full anger. Is this what Unn has been done with for the past years? She is being treated so cruelly when she has done nothing but love the king. And I almost rejected her just like that. I forced myself to look at the cruel women as I moved my hand to and hang around my neck. I was just as cruel as them. I barely felt Victoria's hand to rest against my shoulder. Rose, let it go. Her Majesty wouldn't want you to do this, but I cannot. Just these two women talk about grin like this. I pull away from Victoria and stare at her. The queen has a good heart. She is far more noble than either of you could ever hope to be. I think back on the times I was cruel to her, Orin could have easily ruined me for my behavior. She had the right as my mother, yet she had done nothing but be kind to me. Orin never got angry at me, even if I threatened towards her and her family. She always treats others with kindness, even when they're cruel to her. Judging from the bitterness in your action, it seems like you are jealous of her. How pathetic. The other woman marched towards me, and my hand free instant to move, hold her hands just before her palm reaches my cheek. I will not turn insist towards the queen. A sudden light emotion from the penman. I could only sneer at the shock. I got another good deed? How did you get a good deed from that? Being defiant, Orin, the woman snatched her hand away. How dare a president like you talk that way to us? You have no manners. I could ask you the same. What happened to yours? How dare you? Don't you know who we are, girl? I will see you pay for your insolence. Our words have far more weight than yours ever will. It will go to the king myself to tell him about how rude you were, and I can pass on the message myself. I turn and see Rod walking towards us. Sudden coldness the two noble women have currently. Your Highness! The noble turned pale as Rod's eyes fell on them. Actually, we have an important dinner occasion. Yes, we do. The two noble turned before quickly disappearing. What are you doing here without your guards, you? What trouble have you got into yourself now? Well, I guess it's no point. You know, he tells me nothing, and I feel like I should tell him nothing back. But I want him to trust me, so I'm going to tell him. Those women were insulting the queen. I thought a lecture was in order. Oh, but everyone entiles their own opinions. What? I narrowed my eyes at him. Something like this can't be helped. Bad rumors are unable. Rod looked away, his expression still pale. This wouldn't have happened if I hadn't wished for. Rod never finished the sentence. He cleared his throat before looking at us again. What was he going to say? We should keep you from returning home, Victoria. I'll take Rose back to the palace. Victoria's eyes turned nearer, and she looked ready to say something, but Rod had already reached out for his hand to pull me along beside him. My eyes narrowed as I realized the path we were on. This is not the way back to the palace. No, it isn't. We're going to Martian. Why? Because I was on my way there before I was forced to take detours because someone was drawing attention to herself. What? But Rod ignores me, and he keeps walking the rest of the way to the marshes in silence. Walston is the only person in the writing room when we enter. Prince Rod, Princess, it's a little bit late for you to be here. I had meant to be here earlier. Is Lady Percival here? Walston nods. I'll get her. Wait here. As soon as Walston leaves us, Rod turns to me with his expression right. Rod steps closer and grabs my shoulder. Oh, dear, he looks mad at me. I didn't do it, I promise. I'm sorry. Though I like this expression so much, we're going to save that spot. Hi, Rod, you're cute. I wasn't able to say it earlier because we were out in public, but you should know just how much danger you were, and yet you thought it was okay to go around on your own. It was my day off today. It is not unreasonable for me to want time to myself. Time to yourself. Don't you understand the means to be careful why would you do something as foolish as going out to town alone? I couldn't help but burn at his tone. Why are you angry? Because you're... Rod tails off and looked away. Because you're family. Aw, you think as me family, and aw, you think as me family. Both ahs there. Ouch. Ouch. In so many ways. You're family. Yay, you think of me as family. Oh, wait, family? No, you think as me as family. I have a thing for you. Ah, too many. Situation awkward. So you are finally aware of me as family. I notice his cheeks turn red. To be honest, you're less of a family member and more just... Wait. Important. High five! We've done it. We are not family, but we're important. So we are family, but not family. Oh, God. It feels awkward in so many ways. Okay, where in the world are we? Please tell me we're somewhere in the world where this is illegal. Because I'm just gonna feel so awkward. Oh, this feels so weird. I know it's in a game, but still, technically in the game he's my stepbrother. Technically, this is awkward as balls to me. Important. Because all of that you do for Emily. You're important to my sister. He looks uncomfortable as he said those words, and I can't help but at his embarrassment. No, you're not supposed to say I'm important to your sister. No, you're back to square one again. Why is he so embarrassed? But Rod changed the topic and soon turned away from me. Why were you with Victoria? I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of getting another doll. You know, I do like dolls a lot. Dolls. Totally. I could only think of one reason you speak to her. No, it was totally for dolls. Nothing weird. My curse. You thought you could find out about my curse through her. No, not at all. What are you talking about? That's absurd. I shrug. I can only assume that your curse has something to do with Victoria. I look up when Rod says something, then stares at the curtain slightly before me. He takes Sebastian off his shoulder and holds the doll in his hands away from his face. The two of them seem to engage in some slight conversation, and gently Sebastian words I could hear. This is the right thing to do. You need to let her help you, Rod. Sebastian. Rod bites down on his lips before briefly closing his eyes. Eventually he turns Sebastian to his usual spot and turns to me. Fine, you're stubborn and you're not going to quit investigating until I tell you, are you? Oh, take a deep breath. Our time has awaited for this long quest of what curse he has. You're right, Victoria's the reason I was cursed. We knew it! No, is it the reason I think it is? Rod sits down on the stone and lets out a heavy sigh, his eyes far away as he spoke to me. I was in love with Victoria, but I wasn't brave enough to tell her. I just followed her around like some kind of puppy. You'd make a cute puppy. One day, Victoria wasn't coming home, and it was raining very heavy, so I went out to look for her. It's going to be what I think it is, isn't it? I found her walking along the break of the river. I called out to her to tell her to be careful, but I didn't think she even heard me, and she slipped and Rod fell. He clenched onto his hands into a fist. She fell into the river. It is going to be what I think it. I dive in after her. I somehow managed to get both of us onto river break, but I didn't look like Victoria was breathing. Oh, wait, it isn't. So he did save her. I didn't know what to do. I started panicking. I ran off to try to find help, but I couldn't find anyone in the store. When I returned, she was gone. I rushed to her house, and a doctor had already there, treating to her along with dementia. Rod glanced at them as he nods. When Victor began to fall in love with them, I felt helpless. Did you not tell her that you were the one that saved her? Why would I? Victoria was so happy believing that she and him were fated to be together. I couldn't do that to her. So who's him? But surely, if you told her, interrupted me. I want the person I love to be happy. I don't care if their happiness causes me pain. I'd rather bear that alone instead of bringing down those around me. My chest aches as I watch Rod's face. I would never have guessed that Rod would be so selfish. But then didn't stop me from thinking that I could still make her love me instead. I tended to become what I thought Victoria wanted most, the Prince Charming of fairy tales she adored. And so a witch turned me into one. She stole my voice and mistake. Once that did, I realized that she had effected the fairy tale curse upon me, the mermaid curse. The next day, the king turned up at our house, hearing that he'd been looking for my mother for years, and that he never stopped loving her. When the king married my mother, I became a prince. It was just as the wish proud of this. But it didn't matter. I didn't see when I made the deal with the witch, but I couldn't be blinded for forever. Dawn and Frodo really do love each other. They made each other happy. Nothing I could do will ever change that. Rod, Prince Rod. Oh. Helen paused in her tracks when she sees me. Have I interrupted something? No. Yes! Rod moves over to Prince, but he stops and glances at me. I won't be long. Ferrari looked at Rod and then me. Her face puzzled, but she does not say a word. Rod and her leaves the room. So, But what is he supposed to do to break the curse? That's the question. We know why he's cursed. Wait. If I break his curse, would he not be my stepbrother anymore? Will he not go back to the village and not be a prince anymore? Because then, if we're not stepbrothers and sister anymore, it'd be okay again. Ooh, my brain hurts. This is so confusing. I didn't get a chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night. Neither did I get a chance to speak with Perrin and Doran about my suspicion of Sir Alpha. Days go by, but still, I find myself overwhelmed by pressure for the ball. Things become more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decided to write a letter concerning my suspicion for Sir Hen. I tell Perfield and Doran that I believe he might be a wish that they're looking for. I also add that I believe Ren might have somehow been involved, though my suspicions are not as well found with him. To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I have not heard anyone mention his name for a long time now. I am forced to pull my thoughts when I come with someone. The lines I had hold together on the floor. Excuse me, I did not. I looked up, my voice trailed off, and see who I bumped into. Lost in your thoughts? Oh, I'm suspicious of Mythal, to tell the truth, more than anyone. I don't trust him. Yes, the other guy said Princess Rose, but I have a feeling he is the reason. And I don't trust that. We'll save it here. Lost in my thoughts. Seeing mine lost in my thoughts, and Princess has lost my thoughts. It's a funny gesture. Have you ever bumped into someone just being lost in your thoughts? Peace, guys.